Well, if you can hear this, that means we're going to be going live with GunGuyTV live at 6 o'clock in about a minute, or roughly there. So hang in there. I'm just flipping switches and getting some stuff ready. Hang in there. I just got to make sure I got everything where it needs to be, and I'm not completely lost. This is the COVID-19 version of the GunGuyTV live stream. I'm loving the really cool music here. If I could just reach it there. There we go. I knew I could get it if I kept looking. Well, I hope you're healthy and safe and doing well. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you can hear me. I don't know. I'm going to look here real quick if you guys can actually hear. Love the music. Okay. Good. Cool. Then that sounds like you guys can hear. I got to go over some things with you here real quick just to bring you up to date on some stuff that's going on where the Second Amendment is concerned. I think I can take those off now because I don't need to hear the music cues. By the way, in case you're wondering what I am a DEA diversion today. I don't know why I grabbed that hat, but I did. A buddy of mine that used to be on the DEA, a DEA task force, gave me that some years ago. I thought it was hilarious. Okay, some stuff that's going on. I've had a number of people send me emails asking me if we're healthy and fine and so on, and yeah, we are. And one guy sent me a note the other day asking me if I was completely bored with the lockdown yet, if you want to call it a lockdown, the stay-at-home order. And the answer is yes, I'm tired of it, but I'm not bored. Just to give you an idea, I have had lots of things to do. If you're home and you don't have anything to do, then yeah, you can get really bored really fast. I've had stuff to do. For example, I've been working on my Jeep for a little bit and having some fun working with it and trying to get it fixed up a little bit. At one point, we had a little bit of fun making a rocket stove. Had a bunch of bricks laying around, some other stuff, and we went down and got the remainder of the things. We built a rocket stove. If you've never built a rocket stove, those could be a lot of fun to build. And then, let's see, we got, my wife and I have been wanting for quite some time to have a rain harvesting system. So I went down to San Diego Drums and Totes, which is here in San Diego, and I bought some 275-gallon IBC totes, because those fit beautifully in a spot that I had where they're kind of out of the way, and we could color them dark so that they wouldn't grow algae. And so we've got those totes set up, and we're working on the rest of the rain harvesting system. And then, frankly, I've been doing a little stuff with ham radio and playing around with my new ICOM ID 4100 ham radio there, and trying to figure out a way to mount it in a Gator case that I've got, put together a really great antenna system, and some other stuff. And so, frankly, I haven't been bored. I just haven't been doing a lot of gun stuff. I wish I had, but I haven't been. Excuse me one second. Excuse me. But at the same time, you're home, you got honeydews and things to do around the house and like that. And eventually you run out of those. But at the moment, so life is good so far. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you've got income. I hope that you're not going broke, as many people are, which is a very sad situation. A couple things I need to mention right out of the gate. My wife and I do own a company, and it is our company, which is Practical Defense Systems, that actually pays the bill for GunGuyTV. So if you are, or you know someone who is, wanting to get involved in security in the state of California, then please do check us out there, because we do offer the training statewide throughout the state. We've got about 18,000 students, I think, at this point. And if you would like to support GunGuyTV without it costing you a red cent, you can do that by doing so using our Amazon link. If you look at the website there, that's our website. And inside the big yellow circle at the top is a banner for Amazon. If you click on that, that will take you to Amazon using our link, and then you can bookmark that link or bookmark that Amazon page, and every time you shop Amazon, it costs you absolutely nothing. But they give us a little bit of a marketing fee because you're going through our website, as it were, and that's one way you can help out without it costing you anything. Right now, anything that doesn't cost anything is really a good thing. There are some things going on in the news today. Let me give you some local stuff or statewide stuff for California first, just to keep you up to date here real quick. I got this from CRPA, the California Rifle and Pistol Association, earlier today, and let me see if I can find the story on the web for you. I may not be able to. Let me look here. Hang on a second. I can do this. I really can. It's an alert that they sent out. Give me 1 second, see if I can find it. I thought I had it, and I didn't. It's an alert they sent out about a legislator in California, and it says, Assemblymember Santiago does not care about your Second Amendment and is all too eager to trample on them, your Second Amendment rights, during this time when Californians are not really paying attention. Essentially, Santiago is trying to gain support for a letter to be submitted to the governor, which will ask Governor Newsom to suspend firearm and ammunition sales during the COVID-19 emergency. So I wanted to bring that up to you because it seems like it is absolutely never ending in every state that these politicians are trying to seize upon the current pandemic for some reason or other to try to take away your rights and mine, and the rights of people to go out and buy firearms at this point who should have bought them before probably, but didn't, and I'm sure would like to have them but are having trouble getting them. Some folks have reported to me that they're at the end of their 10-day wait, and they still can't go pick up their gun because the store is telling them that the Department of Justice hasn't finished the background check yet. I think that's absurd, but it is becoming rather common. If that's happening to you, I urge you to contact the California Rifle and Pistol Association and or Gun Owners of California. You can just Google them if you want, Gun Owners of California, or you can go to crpa.org, I think is the California Rifle and Pistol Association, and let them know that that's what's happening. That way it gives them numbers. They can say, well, yeah, okay, come on, DOJ, get with it. Because there are some things DOJ has to do within a specific time frame, and if they don't, I'm not sure what happens, but we want to hold their feet to the fire if we can. All right, another thing happening in San Diego County right now is that the San Diego City Attorney is using red flag laws during the state of emergency. This was in bearing arms earlier today, and reading it, I wasn't particularly surprised, but nevertheless, the laws don't necessarily need to be used. The story says, while San Diego Sheriff Bill Gore has surprised a lot of Second Amendment supporters by not attempting to shut down gun stores during California's shelter-in-place order, virtually no one is shocked that the San Diego City Attorney, Mara Elliott, is doing all she can to remove firearms from homes thanks to the state's red flag laws. The city attorney's office says nearly 50 extreme risk protection orders have been filed since early March. Now, here's the examples that the attorney's office give. This is the city attorney. They gave this example. Let's see. Amongst the recent cases are 2 active duty Marines, one of whom purchased firearms and told family members he was going to shoot child traffickers, and another who said in a social media post that he wanted to go to his old high school and shoot people who were mean to him. This is according to the city attorney. Another example, one man beat his pregnant girlfriend in front of their toddler and was arrested by police. In another case, an 82-year-old man with dementia was arrested and served with a GVRO after attacking his wife when she refused to withdraw $100,000 from their bank account. A pair of brothers came to blows and threats of gun violence while arguing over the care of their elderly parents, and so on and so on and so on. Other cases involved threats to nearby residents, including one man who attacked his neighbor over a parking spot, while another fired a gun in his apartment and later told police he became overwhelmed by his fear of COVID-19 while smoking methamphetamines. All right, here's the issue here. And I got to say, they raised the issue, I think, very, very well in the story on Bearing Arms. So if you want to go read it, you can find it at Bearing Arms, and that's the title of it, San Diego City Attorney Using Red Flag Laws During State of Emergency. Here's the thing. All the examples they gave are crimes for which all of those people were arrested. I was a bail bondsman, so I can tell you, when you get arrested and you go to jail, if you are eligible for bail, bail is set, and it's a schedule that's in the jail. Unless you want to wait to go to your preliminary hearing or your arraignment and see if you can get them to reduce it, then you have to deal with the bail schedule. So there's a bail schedule. Well, they can hold you in jail and not allow you to bail out or post bail until your hearing. And then when you go to your hearing, they can make a stipulation saying that a stipulation of your bail, a requirement of your bail is that you do not possess firearms, that those are locked up or with a friend or whatever. You cannot be around firearms. They can do that. And then if you're found not guilty of any of these crimes in the process, if you're never convicted of a crime, then you don't lose your firearms rights. On the other hand, if a red flag law is used, then you have you have a permanent restraining order that does not allow you to possess firearms, and that will stay in place whether you are found guilty of a crime or not. Your guns are seized without due process, and they are held from you without due process, and they are not returned to you unless you want to spend thousands of dollars on an attorney and go fight it in court to see if you can get them back, and there's no guarantee you're going to. So this is one way that the city is taking firearms from people. Now, the examples they gave were given because these are extreme things that these people were about 3 fries short of a Happy Meal, or their elevator didn't go all the way to the top, and that's why they needed to be arrested in the first place. But there are also going to be people victimized by these red flag laws who should not have their firearms taken from them, who are not violent and are not a threat to the community. And it's going to be determined in court that that's a fact, that they're not a threat to the community. There was no reason to take their firearms. But guess what? Because they have a gun violence restraining order, they're going to have to fight to get those guns back. It may take years. It may take tens of thousands of dollars, and they may never get them at all. This is what's going on in California. All right, in national news. I don't want to depress you or anything, but I think you need to be aware of this. And right now, when you start looking at the news, it's all coronavirus, COVID-19. You never see anything else. And after a while, you kind of don't want to look at the news anymore. So I'm just making you aware of a few things. By the way, in case you don't know, I do post these every day, Monday through Friday. I go look for all the news I can find that is firearms-related news, and I post it on our Facebook and Twitter feed. So if you want to know what those are on an ongoing basis, just go ahead and follow us on Facebook or Twitter. And no, they don't come all at once. I dribble them out through the day so that they're not overwhelming your feed, but at least it will keep you up to date. This is an interesting thing. First of all, earlier today, I saw a little video of Nancy Pelosi explaining her plans and the kind of things that politicians do to destroy other politicians and discredit them. And she said it's a 3-step process. The first step is to tell a lie about that other person. The second step is to get the press to print a story about the lie as if it were true. And the third step is to then use the story the press has written as justification for having told the story, basically saying, well, that confirms that it's true because the press wrote a story about it. It must be true. And that's what they do. It's what they've been doing to Donald Trump and to others for a long, long time. And it's what they've been doing to gun rights folks and firearms owners as long as I can remember. That's been going on. Well, this particular story is a warning from gun owners of America. Hold on, before I even read the story. Hang on, hold on. Don't move, hang on. We have to demonstrate this. Hang on. There it is. I am proud to be, Gun Owners of America, proud to be a life member of Gun Owners of America, as is my wife. And honestly, I would wear the hat, except the hat they sent me is a little too small. And that's adjusted as big as I can get it. So either the hat is small or I have a fat head. It may be the latter. Maybe I have a fat head. I don't know. So I'm going to be a DEA diversion because I can't wear the hat. So, Eric, if you're watching this, you want to send me a bigger hat, please do, and I'll wear it. or Jordan, one of you guys over at Gun Owners of America, if you're watching this, send me a bigger hat, and I will wear it. I did give one to my wife, and so I think it fits her. They sent us 2 hats, both small, like that. And I'm a rather large person with a fat head, apparently, so I can't do anything with it. All right, where was I? I was telling you about Gun Owners of America's warning with regard to Nancy Pelosi. Here's the deal on that, so that you're not, I'm not boring you to tears. When I get done with this, I'll answer some questions for you, but I at least want to share this stuff for you. This is a warning with regard to what they're planning on doing, Pelosi and Schumer. In fact, the story, if you want to look at it, it is on Amaland. And about in the middle, it says Pelosi and Schumer are scheming to hijack the COVID-19 funding agenda with their own agenda. As a condition of passing the COVID-19 Phase 4 legislation relief package, Pelosi and Schumer are preparing to demand their liberal wish list. The list could include many items that would be of concern to conservative constitutionalists in general, but of specific concern to gun owners is the gun control that Pelosi could try to sneak into the COVID-19 relief package. Things like red flag laws, where have we heard of those, and other things. So apparently GOA and other organizations are battling this. They're urging you to contact your senator, congressman, et al., and tell them that this is bogus and you want nothing to do with this kind of stuff. So please contact them if you haven't already done so. Now, this is probably not something that you're going to see in the news here. This is on a website called Law Enforcement Today. Pete sent me this. You know Pete from being on the show. He's a friend of mine. He texted me this, and I thought this story was very interesting. The title of the story, Experts Warn of Potential Wave of Violence Coming When Criminals Don't Get Their Drugs Because of Social Restrictions. When you read the story, it goes on to tell you there are reports that illicit drug markets are greatly compromised by COVID-19's pandemic and social restrictions. That means that addicted offenders and their dealers are either working off current supplies or they're running low or they've already run out of drugs. Now, they estimate that 80% of the inmates in prison have a drug history, and that right around 80% of all criminals have a drug use problem. And so this is a warning in here to law enforcement that violence so far has not increased over COVID-19, but these folks could start becoming somewhat troublesome and somewhat violent if their drugs. It's a funny thing. We're saying, gee, give them the drugs, otherwise they're going to be violent. That's not what they're saying, but they are warning law enforcement that they need to be on the lookout for these kinds of people, because now that they can't get their fix, they're not going to be happy, and they're likely to become more aggressive and more violent. Wow, have I depressed you or discouraged you yet? I wasn't trying to. I really wasn't. Let me go look at the comments here and see if there's anybody. Am I talking to myself? I hope not. I'm not. Oh, I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. Holy smoke. Okay, let's see. I'll go through these. I got a couple more things to mention to you, but before I do, let me go through these real quick and see if I've got somebody to respond to. First of all, thank you very much for taking time out of your valuable time and spending it doing this, listening to me drone on. I really do appreciate it. I'm always kind of amazed that you do that, but I'm really grateful that you do. Thank you. Hello from Northern California. Saiga. You must have a Saiga rifle. I used to say Sega, and people have been educating me, so hopefully I'm doing it right. Don't anticipate that I will do it right, because I'll probably screw it up. But if I am, you can always let me know. Thank you for your hard work. You're more than welcome. Indio, California. Keep the music on, please. I can't. The song was only 2 minutes long, and it was about to end. I probably should have let it go. Silver Biker, thank you very much. That was very nice. Contributed a little bit to the channel. I don't ask people to do that, but if you wish to do it, that's great. The harvesting system, which is pretty cool. It'll, the way we're putting it together, we'll have about 1,000 gallons of water. One of the issues I come up with, when you're trying to be a little bit of a prepper, if you live where you're on city water, and we've got a decent sized lot, and we've got fruit trees and avocados and like that, but there's no place for us to dig a well. And then we're in Southern California in San Diego County, so how do you get water if you run out of water and the city water goes off? You don't. For a while that was troublesome, but normally we get really good rain like we've had this year. This year I could have filled up those totes, that 1,000 gallons of water, about 8 or 9 times in the wintertime. So it's a really good thing to do if you live in the Southern California area. Van Ram, I hope I said that right. Let's see. Cheers, thank you very much. Let's see if there's any questions in here. They are prosecuting gun shops in New York for being open. That's got to be. Let's see. Let's see. Why do 80% lowers? Okay, why do 80% lowers cost more than stripped lowers? That's a great question. I don't know the answer. 80% lowers are tough in California anyway, but if you're in another state where you can do them and not have to register them like you do in California, they're a lot of fun. But I don't know, but that does sometimes seem to be the case. Stockpile reloading supplies. Absolutely. I've been doing that for 30, 40 years. So yeah, I can load ammo from now until doomsday. Hopefully I won't have to do it till doomsday, and hopefully doomsday isn't coming. It is recommended to stockpile reloading supplies for the following things: 7.62, 5.56, 300 blackout, 9mm 12 gauge, and slugs. Or if you were smart, you just bought a lot of that ammo to begin with. It's also good to have a gun that will fire those, by the way, because the ammo doesn't do you a lot of good without the gun. Let's see. I need help right now. This is from J24 Maggie. I need help right now. I am facing false allegations of domestic violence, and they took my rifle away from me, and I got illegally evicted from my house. If you are in California, contact the California Rifle and Pistol Association. If you are not in California, then I would say contact the Gun Owners of America or your local, better would be your state firearms advocacy group, and let them know what's happening to you. For sure, I do know, and I know people are going to say, where's NRA? Well, NRA actually is funding some lawsuits on this stuff, whether you know it or not. So you could contact NRA as well. But the thing about NRA is they're big, and it's hard to reach anybody that'll talk to you. But you can certainly reach people at Gun Owners of America, and you certainly can reach people at your state advocacy group, whether that's CRPA or Gun Owners of California or wherever you are in whatever state you're in. Thanks from Arizona. You are welcome. I'm doing security. Happy to see you. I'm happy to see you too. Exploring with Jerry. Way to go, Jerry. Hang in there, man. At least the nice thing about being in security is security guards are considered essential. They're part of public safety, so you're working if you're a security guard. You are welcome. Let's see. Jim said, thank you for taking the time. Good info. Question about standard cap magazines. My local SO, I assume that's sure, differ from county to county. No. As far as I know, it does not. Now, that's a misnomer. If you had the magazines before the last ban, I assume you're talking about the state of California. If you're in the state of California and the bans and the magazines were grandfathered in because you owned them 30 years ago or whatever, before they banned them in the first place, then they're legal to have and to use. If, on the other hand, you purchased them during Freedom Week, during that week when the ordinance against them, which could be the case, and if they do, contact, please, California Rifle and Pistol Association or Gun Owners of California, and they will go after that county to see if they can get you some relief. Liquor stores are closed. Oh, that's a bummer. Liquor stores are closed in PA, and now they're trying to make us bordering counties. Oh, is that right? Okay. See. Here's my opinion on the Smith & Wesson 686. Awesome revolver. I assume you're talking about the 357 Magnum. Yeah, unless I missed my guess. But if I'm wrong, please let me know. But yes, I'm a big revolver fan. I have a Smith & Wesson Model 66 that I love. Used to live in Escondido. Houston mayor pleads the criminals. The Houston mayor's a mess, apparently. Let's see. Houston mayor pleads with criminals to take a break until the pandemic is over. Okay. Go arrest the criminals and throw them in prison or jail. Scott Leeper. Pardon me if I misspelled that. Jeep guy. I love it. Nobody's asked me about the 1953 CJ3B sitting in the backyard that I showed you a picture of. That's all right. NRA is getting rid of employees. Yeah, that's true. NRA is cutting employees. That's not unusual for any when people don't have any money, they're not contributing. So, and right now a lot of them don't have any money. So obviously contributions are down for NRA, GOA, you name it. And NRA is heavy on employees because they do a lot of training and stuff, and they kind of are a little top heavy. It doesn't surprise me that they've cut some folks loose. Michael Santiago on his letter to Stop Gun. Okay. I'll keep the old mags. Let's see. I'm looking for any questions here. What's your opinion on them fining $1,000 for being out in a group? That's from Alan May. Okay, you're going to ask. I have for many years, had the habit when people ask me for my opinion of something, because I will just tell you, I've asked them, are you sure you want to know the answer to that? I have a number of people who know me well, and when I ask them that question, sometimes they'll look at me and go, actually, no, I don't want to know what your opinion is. While I understand that the President of the United States and the governor of the state do have a lot of authority, we are not just bordering on, but I think we've reached a position here where people's rights are being stomped on. Their right to, I assume, I hope, we have a right of free movement. We have a right of association under the First Amendment. We have a lot of rights which are being squished right now. I don't have a problem with the advisory, telling people, hey, don't join, don't get in groups or whatever. I don't have a problem with the government shutting down government property and saying, hey, this is off limits. I do have some problem with that, but not a understanding. So that's a violation of the Constitution in my mind. I think the story I read where somebody was actually going through a drive-in theater where a church was holding church and people were sitting in their cars, separated from other people, and the cop was walking through writing tickets for everybody that was sitting in their car. One of the reasons I guess it was expressed was there were more than one person sitting in the car. Well, that's like telling me I have to sleep 6 feet away from my wife to properly social distance. That's insane. And so that kind of stuff drives me crazy. So anyway, there you go, Alan. That's my opinion. I think that's an unconstitutional exercise. I think it's a violation of the authority of the government to tell you that you can't stand within a certain distance of someone else or you can't gather in groups. Now, that said, is it very problematic when people do that in the middle of a pandemic? Yes. Should they be wiser? Yes. Should they make better choices? Yes. Do they put other people in danger by virtue of that level of foolishness? Absolutely. Does it make me mad when I see them do it, realizing I'm in my 60s, my mother is in her 80s, then come home and visit the old folks? So while I think it's unconstitutional, I think it's a violation of their power, I also think it's stupid to go do. But you can't fix stupid. All right, Bud. So there you go. There's my response, Alan. I hope I didn't make you mad, but I might have. All right, Bud Sullivan. I love listening to your chats and all the messages. Oh, thank you very much from Joel. But the number one guy that needs to go is Wayne LaPierre, if you ask me. Joel, is the Jeep a high hood? It is. It's a 1950. It's a CJ3B, so it's a high hood as opposed to a low hood, and that's the difference. So it still has the original little ammo. If the law goes into effect, which I presume is this year, only affects public ranges, not private. Okay, my understanding about that law is that it was shelved and did not proceed in this legislative session, but you can look for it to show up in the next one. My understanding is that law did not pass the California legislature and was not therefore signed into law by Gavin Nuisance, Gruesome Nuisance, whatever you want to call him. So as a result, it's not a law. It was a bill that didn't get anywhere. That's my understanding, unless I'm wrong. I could be. I don't think so. The last time I talked to Rick Travis or Sam Paredes. That's Jason Bourne 777. If you're really Jason Bourne, I would agree with you anyway because it's too dangerous not to. Let's see. That happened here in Kentucky with the church. There you go. See, and I think that's ridiculous. If you were to recommend a caliber for the use in range of 100 yards, what would you recommend? Well, that's Jacob S. It depends on what you're trying to do with it. It depends. That's an impossible question for me to answer without a lot more information. For example, I don't know what it is you're trying to achieve with it at 100 yards. Are you wanting to hunt deer with it? Are you wanting to hunt rabbits with it? Are you wanting to hunt feral hogs with it? Are you wanting to go hunt javelina with it? Are you using it for self-defense? Do you live in the country? Do you live in an urban center? Are you an experienced rifle shooter? Are you 25 years old? The answer to your question is I don't know, because it depends on a lot more information than what you've given me. Now, if you want a more intelligent answer, you can always send me an email at kickbuttTakeNames, KBTNINC. Mayor of Kentucky that pulled the stuff with the church. Oh, wow, crazy. I just called the California. They're working. What do you think about the Glock 19? I'm not a Glock fanboy in the sense that I think the Glock is the best. Glock 19's been around for a long time. Glock 17's been around for a long time. I have a Glock 22, so does my son, in 40 caliber. I like Glocks a lot. Now, as far as the way they point, naturally, they're not the best gun for me because their grip angle is a little different, and I carried a 1911 for like 35 years, so I'm used to the grip angle of a 1911. That's why I prefer the Springfield XD, because it has the same grip angle. So the gun naturally points for me, and I don't have to make an adjustment in the way that I'm holding the gun in order to get it on target. With Glocks, I do have that training issue. Could I get to where a Glock could point for me naturally? Sure. I just have to work with it a lot. But I don't have a desire to do that. I already have guns that point for me naturally. So that's the reason. But is it a really wonderful gun? Are there a bit of mouth? Okay, our gun laws so book. The Aussies are right when they call you prisoners of Mother England, because in this area at least, you absolutely are. I wish that I could do something to restore the rights of my brothers and sisters in the UK, because if I could, I would. I just rank. You're welcome. Gavin Gasbag, thank you for that. Is everyone seeing super long wait times from... Yes, that is happening a lot. And I think it's because of for example, in California is arbitrarily trying to hold people from getting their firearms, although they would love to do that. In the case of the state of California, it is an extremely bureaucratic and disorganized and dysfunctional state. And just about, if you doubt that, just go to the Department of Vehicles and walk around there, and you will understand that the DOJ is overwhelmed, and then everything drags on, and their systems break, and so on. You know, when Trump was talking about some states have 40-year-old computer systems, well, there you are. And now with NICS, that shouldn't be the issue, but even the federal government can get overwhelmed when we're in the middle of a pandemic. So I suspect that that's what it is. I don't think it's necessarily intentional. Yesterday. Let's see. So pardon me for ranting a little bit. Some of this stuff irritates me to death. Exploring with Larry, 30-30 lever action. I don't know what you're asking me, but the 30-30 lever action is a fabulous gun. Point with the department, he became a resident deputy, so he got to take the car home and like that. And long before anybody carried a patrol rifle, long before the Hollywood bank shooting or any of those things, my dad always he carried a Colt Python 357 Magnum for his entire career, and he also had in the car a Remington 870 shotgun. The gun that has killed more deer in the United States than any other gun. So if you're using it for hunting or self-defense or whatever, 16. Okay, well, I'm not surprised. I've heard that a lot. I think my brother, who served in the Army during Vietnam, has said similar things. Although I'd have to ask Rick and see, but I think he said similar things. I know he owns an M1 Garand, and so do I. So if it's cutting in and out, I apologize. That's because the internet is having a lot of trouble because so many people are on it. So I do apologize for that. I will try to speak more slowly, and hopefully that will solve the problem. But I do apologize for that. That's not me. We have the fastest internet speed I can buy, but it's just the internet is now overwhelmed by people being on it all the time. Well, a lot of people buy because of fear, and it happens every time there's any kind of natural disaster. The trick is to then bring them into the fold of, I would say, let's try to get them trained. Let's try to get them educated. A lot of trainers are putting up free classes for them and free stuff like that, and that seems to be helping. I may do that myself because I've been training people for 20 years or whatever it is. But I think if we just befriend them and get them to the range and teach them a little bit, that's the wisest choice. We can disagree politically on things. Having a problem, please let me know if it's curing itself. I hope so. Dry practice, not sure. And that would help a lot. No guns and ammo on the shelf, not surprising. I'm looking forward to the huge volume of guns they are going to have used on the market. Yeah, I get it. All right, it sounds like the internet's having a lot of problems here, so I'm going to wrap it up because of that, because I don't want to drive you crazy. So what I will do is I'll go through, after this video was produced, if it doesn't hold together and it doesn't answer the questions, what I will do is go through the chats as best I can and come back and answer the questions in a different video because I want to get the answers to you. Put in an order, Patriot Foods. They said 10 weeks or more for delivery. I'm not surprised. All right. Well, anyway, thank you very much for real quick. Are you seeing that the stream is still choppy or has it resolved itself? So I'll pause here. My pleasure. People are thanking me for the great info. Thank you, sir. Clay said I'm a true patriot. I'm grateful for that. Is my stream still choppy, or you very much? Have a wonderful week. Stay safe, and I will try from my best to get the questions answered for you at a later time. Again, thank you very much for being here, and hopefully the next live stream will work better and we won't have such choppy issues with the internet. Stay safe.